Hey, Peter, have you ever felt like time is just speeding up? Like, seriously, I blink and suddenly a week's gone by, then a month, and before I know it, we're celebrating another new year. It's almost unsettling.
Oh, Darren, absolutely. It's not just you. I feel like I'm living in fast forward mode these days. Every single person I talk to, from my grandma to my teenage niece, says the exact same thing. Where did the year go? It's a common refrain, isn't it?
It really is. And it's not just a feeling, right? There's got to be something more to it. Like, are our brains just wired differently now, or is the world itself just, moving at a higher RPM?
I think it's a mix of both, honestly. On one hand, there's the psychological aspect. When you're a kid, a summer feels like an eternity because everything is new. Every day is an adventure. But as an adult, especially when you settle into routines, those days just blend into one another.
That's so true. I remember summers as a kid feeling endless. Now, a 3 month summer holiday, that would feel like, what, 3 weeks, maybe? And that's if I managed to squeeze in a few exciting things.
Exactly. The novelty factor is huge. When you're constantly experiencing new things, your brain has to process more information, create more new memories. This creates a denser record of time, making it seem longer. But as adults, we often fall into patterns. Work, commute, dinner, sleep, repeat. There's less unique data for our brains to store, so the days feel compressed.
So it's almost like our brain is just optimizing for efficiency, right? It's like, okay, another Monday, nothing new to report, just log it as a standard day. And then before you know it, it's Friday and you're wondering what you even did all week.
Precisely. And then you throw in the technological aspect, which I think is a massive contributor to this time warp feeling. We're bombarded with information, with notifications, with constant demands on our attention. It creates a sense of urgency, of always being on.
Oh, the always on culture. That's a huge one. I mean, my phone is essentially an extension of my arm. Emails, social media, news alerts, messages from friends and family, work pings. It's relentless. I feel like I'm constantly reacting rather than truly living in the moment.
And that constant reaction, that fragmented attention, it makes it harder to form deep, meaningful memories of individual moments. It's like you're skimming the surface of life rather than diving deep. So when you look back, it all feels like a blur because you weren't fully present for any one thing.
That's a really insightful way to put it. It's like our mental hard drive is full of snippets, not full length features. And then, when you combine that with the sheer amount of stuff we try to cram into our days now, I mean, who has a quiet evening anymore?
Right? We're expected to be productive at work, maintain a vibrant social life, pursue hobbies, stay fit, learn new skills, keep up with current events. The list goes on. We've essentially overscheduled our lives, leaving very little room for unstructured time, for boredom, which, ironically, can be a breeding ground for creativity and a slower perception of time.
Boredom is a luxury, almost. If I have 5 minutes free, my first instinct is to pull out my phone and scroll. I don't just sit and think anymore, or just observe. It's a habit I'm really trying to break, but it's tough because the instant gratification is so strong.
That's exactly it. The dopamine hit from a new notification or a new piece of content keeps us in that high stimulus state. And when you're always stimulated, always moving from one thing to the next, time just melts away. It's like when you're driving on a highway, everything's a blur. But when you're on a winding country road, you notice more details and the journey feels longer.
That's a great analogy. So, how do we get off the highway and onto that country road more often? Because I feel like I'm just watching my life zip past me. It's a bit unnerving.
It definitely is. I think one of the most powerful things we can do is intentionally inject novelty back into our lives. It doesn't have to be grand, like quitting your job to travel the world. It can be small things, taking a different route to work, trying a new recipe, visiting a museum you've never been to, learning a few words of a new language.
I like that. So, shaking up the routine, even slightly, making your brain work a little harder to process something new, thereby creating a new memory marker that makes that period of time feel more distinct.
Exactly. And another thing is mindfulness, actually being present in the moment. When you're eating, really taste your food. When you're talking to someone, really listen. When you're walking, notice the sounds, the smells, the light. It sounds simple, almost cliche, but it's profoundly effective in slowing down your perception of time.
Yeah, I've heard that before, but it's one of those things that's easier said than done, especially with all the distractions we just talked about. I mean, how do you actually do mindfulness in a practical way when your phone is buzzing every 5 minutes?
That's a fair point. It requires discipline. One practical step is to schedule white space into your day. Literally block out time in your calendar for doing nothing, or for just one thing intentionally. No multitasking. Put your phone away. Even 15-20 minutes a day can make a difference.
That's interesting, like a digital detox within the day. I might actually try that. Just force myself to sit, maybe with a cup of coffee, and just be. No phone, no laptop, no TV.
Exactly. And then there's the age factor, which is also a big one. There's this theory, the proportionate theory, that as you get older, a year represents a smaller and smaller fraction of your total life. So when you're 10, a year is 10% of your life. That's a huge chunk. But when you're 50, a year is only 2%. Our brains intuitively feel that difference.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It's like the older you get, the more established your sense of scale becomes. A year just isn't as big of a deal proportionally. It's a bit grim, but logically it tracks.
It does, doesn't it? So while we can't stop the biological clock, we can influence our perception of time by being more intentional, more present, and seeking out new experiences. We can effectively stretch our time and make it feel richer rather than just faster.
I really like the idea of stretching time. It's not about making more of it, because that's impossible. It's about making the time we have feel fuller, more memorable. So less scrolling, more experiencing, less routine, more novelty.
Precisely. And I think part of that also comes down to reflection, taking time at the end of the day or week to consciously recall what you did, what you experienced, who you talked to. Journaling can be really powerful for this. It helps consolidate those snippets into a more cohesive narrative.
Yeah, I've tried journaling before, but I always fall off the wagon. Maybe I need to reframe it not as a chore, but as a way to literally slow down time, to make my past feel richer and more textured, so it doesn't just blur into one big then.
Exactly. It's like curating your own memories instead of letting them just evaporate. And think about it. If our lives are increasingly digital, with photos and videos stored in the cloud, how often do we actually sit and look through them? That act of looking back, reflecting, is a way to re-experience and solidify those moments.
You're right, I have thousands of photos on my phone, but how often do I actually scroll back to last year or 5 years ago? Almost never. It's just a digital archive, not a living memory bank.
And that leads to another point, the paradox of productivity. We're told to optimize, to multitask, to squeeze every last drop out of every minute. But this intense focus on efficiency can actually make time feel faster because we're not truly engaging with any one thing deeply.
That's so counterintuitive, isn't it? You'd think being super productive would make you feel like you've accomplished more, and therefore time would feel packed. But instead, it just feels like a blur of tasks. It's like you're constantly rushing, never quite catching up.
Exactly. Our brains aren't designed for constant, high-speed, fragmented input. We need downtime, we need moments of sustained focus, and we need variety. Otherwise, it's just mental exhaustion, and time becomes this shapeless, uncontrollable force.
So the takeaway here is really about intentionality, being intentional with our time, with our attention, with our experiences, not just letting life happen to us in fast forward.
That's it, Darren. It's about taking back some agency. We can't stop the clock, but we can change how we relate to it. By creating more distinct memories, practicing presence, and embracing novelty, we can enrich our perception of time and hopefully feel like we're living a fuller, more expansive life, even if the years still keep flying by.
That's a great thought to end on, Peter. It's not about wishing for more time, but making the time we have feel more present. Thanks for this insightful chat. I definitely have some things to rethink about how I approach my days.
My pleasure, Darren. And for everyone listening, try one small thing this week to break a routine or be more present. You might be surprised how much richer your day feels. Until next time.